Hey everybody, welcome to Journey to the Middle. I'm Matt. Right across the desk from me, indoors, we have...
I'm Dana. Hello,
Dana,
guys.
Yeah. So we're indoors today, Dana.
I mean, it was probably a better choice this week for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, no cicadas in the background. No birds in the background.
No wind.
No wind. So let me tell you something. So my wife listened to the podcast last week.
Uh-huh.
And I said, hey, did you hear the cicadas in the background? She's like, no, I didn't notice them.
Really?
She was in her car with the windows down, and she just thought it was ambience.
Oh, that's but that makes me feel better, though. So maybe most people thought that.
I'm like, how did you not notice it? But
we have a guest today, too. We've got the barking dog in the
now
background.
we got dogs.
Yeah. I'm
Now
good
we
with
got
that.
dogs. So,
it's cool.
I'm guessing it's probably someone at the door.
I kind of figured.
There's my daughters go to school right down the street, and they are doing like a welcome thing that I read like just before you got here, where they're passing out water.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, they're gonna show up at my door about the same time as we record. So
that's fine. You know what though? Having the dogs in the background just makes it more authentic.
yes, because we got dogs, so that's what happens.
Exactly. We're dog friendly, so it's okay.
So besides the cicadas not being here this time, last week you mentioned the chef.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just in passing, you're like, I don't know what that thing's called. Probably just called the chef. It's called the chef show.
Is it okay? So it's the chef show. Okay.
It was the chef
I could
show.
not remember.
Yeah. So I just happened to breeze through Netflix. There it was. I'm like, oh yeah, so that's the name of it. Cool.
Very original.
So, yeah.
Oh, no. Please continue.
Because like you had something to say.
I'm doing this so I don't forget. Sorry, go on. I'm touching my nose and pointing at you so I don't forget. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So a big thanks to people who listened to the first episode. We got a few comments here and there, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of weird for me, just because it's my first podcast. And when Dana texted me like early in the morning that we put it out, I was at work, and I'm like, oh man, people have to listen to this now. We're going to get judged.
I had to reserve myself from texting you at 1 a.m. when I finally got done. And I'm like, don't do it. Don't be a dick. You can't text him right now because you're still up and like doing stuff. Because I work from home during the day. I work from home all week. But being online at 1 a.m. wasn't a big deal to me because sometimes I'll get up and do work in the middle of the night too. Mm-hmm. It's my OCD. But I physically had to restrain myself, and I'm like, no, you can't do it. Tell him at 7 a.m. in the morning instead. It's better than 1 a.m.
And luckily I'm up at 7 a.m. So.
See, that worked out better then.
It worked out for everybody. All right, so this week we're going to talk about some throwback stuff, some 90s music, right?
I have to interrupt you, though, first for 1 second.
All right, feel free.
Well, maybe more like 30 or 60 seconds.
You're on the clock.
Right? We should have a timer. So one of the remakes that I totally forgot to bring up last week, it was a movie, but A Star is Born.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Not that we're not going to get on that topic again, but that was another one that I thought of post. And then we're totally going to have to follow up after the 6th episode is done, but I did watch BH 90210 this week.
Oh, yeah.
It was markedly better. It's still cheesy as hell.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I was actually going to say let's wait until episode 6 after this thing is through the ringer, and then we'll trash it.
It's the most downloaded show though on Hulu. They said for this summer.
I mean, I guess.
I guess so. People are bored as hell.
Well, the first episode, fine. People want to check it out. But we'll see how many people hang through.
We'll see if it peters
6 episodes of Tori.
Yeah, Tori's terrible face. Okay.
It's getting worse.
I know, it's really bad. Okay, but anyway, we're not going to talk about her.
Yeah, we'll save that for the reboot.
Yes.
All right, so 90s music.
Yes.
So you want to go first on this one? Okay.
But you have to set the premise, though, because tell them what you texted me. Because he told me to do my homework again, and I kind of scoffed at him, and I was like, I don't have to dig deep for this one at all. So
and again, I have things written down, and I was racking my brain. But you know what? I'm no better because I was pretty busy this weekend, and I did it maybe 2 hours before you got here.
But you know what, though? You did it, though, so that's okay. For me... Okay, hang on 1 second.
Oh, now she's looking at her phone.
I'm looking at the text message.
Feel dead air.
So the next episode, Matt texted me and said 90s music. Think of something you still can't get enough of. Something you wish you might be embarrassed to say you listen to. So, and I told him, I don't have to do homework. That's not a stretch for me because I listen to a lot of shitty, what people might perceive as shitty music, and it is not shitty music.
To you.
To me, right? Yeah. So I think one of the first, so of course, like I'll start with one and then we'll kind of like ping pong back and forth, right? But one of the first ones that I was so embarrassed about back in the day, because I felt like people would judge me. There was a group from the all new Mickey Mouse Club called The Party. And he's chuckling over there. Okay. It totally, like, the new all new Mickey Mouse Club, I'm not going to lie, that's a huge, like, thing in my life. So, I mean, it's tattooed on my body. Like, it's a huge thing in my life. And I didn't realize until now, 30 years later, how many people, even people that we went to school with, were such fans of...
I'll name names after the podcast. I'll tag them.
I'll share.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how many people were fans of The Party like I was. And they were fantastic. It was like a pop group, right? There were 5 members: Dee Dee, Albert, Damon, Tiffany, and Chase.
She didn't have to look at a phone to get those names.
Totally didn't have to. I also own all of their albums. Like, I have a few vinyl now, which I clearly never had back in the day.
Mickey Mouse Club, this group is on vinyl? Like, someone took the time to put it on vinyl?
They did. Well, okay, so here's the interesting thing.
Is it shaped like Mickey Mouse ears?
No. Okay. No, so The Party was, they were signed to Hollywood Records, which was owned by Disney, of course, right? So they actually, for The Party, they actually got people like Dr. Dre to help with some songs. Like, they had some really big names working with them, which was crazy. And then they toured, who was it? It was Vanilla Ice that they toured with. They toured with Taylor Dane. I can't remember who else it was, but it was like a huge... I still listen to them to this day.
I don't think this was on my horizon at all.
I knew it wasn't. That's why I couldn't like give you any insight into it, because, like I said, it was something I held I held my cards close to my chest because I felt people would judge me, but the music stands up still. Like, when we went to the Mickey Mouse Club reunion, the 30th, back in this past May, they actually performed. Now, less 2 members because they're not really part of the spotlight anymore. But of the other 3 members who were there, they're all still in the entertainment industry. And Damon, the gentleman I was telling you about, he used to be one of the members of The Party, and he is going to be doing an interview with us down the road at some point.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Which will get Dana all fangirl and weird.
Oh, it's interesting, though, because when I interviewed him before on my other podcast, totally didn't fangirl, and it was like we were brother and sister just hanging out and having a conversation. You'll like him. He's a funny dude. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I'll have to give you some background too. Post recording and all the off the record stuff. But yeah, The Party, that just amazing. They had 1, 2, so they actually had like 3 commercial releases, and then there was 1 in between. So they called it In the Meantime, In Between Time. And it was a bunch of cover songs.
Okay.
Not the whole... I think there was maybe 1 that wasn't a cover song, but really freaking good.
So what's a concert for The Party like? I mean, you go backstage, a lot of drugs and booze, you know?
Or... a lot of Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I never got to see them in concert when I was a kid. I did meet them at a meet and greet before one of the albums was released, and Becky actually came with me.
Okay.
It was like do you remember Flipside?
Yes.
The one in Crystal Lake?
Yes.
That's where we met them
all
at.
The time.
Yes. And that's where we met them at.
Nice.
So that was really special for me because I still have Polaroid pictures of that meet and greet. My mom didn't take many, but
Polaroid.
Polaroid, legit Polaroid.
That sounds perfect.
But yeah, so I know for sure that they did do a lot of like mall tours for a bit too. I feel like that was kind of the thing back then, right? Like Tiffany and Debbie Gibson kind of started that in the 80s. They kind of continued with that, with that trend. But yeah, I can tell you what a current day like party concert is like, and it's a bunch of drunk 40-year-olds singing the songs that we knew when we were growing up.
So the same thing. We're 40 now.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, so you guys will hear about the Mickey Mouse Club and The Party a whole lot. They were also on an episode of Blossom.
Well, there you go. I mean,
yeah.
Perfect.
Well, because the dad, Nick, was working in Disneyland at the time.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I binged Blossom again a few years ago. But anyway, yes. So that is one of my maybe guilty pleasures is the best way to say that.
Yeah, guilty pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No judgments here, by the way.
I didn't think there would be, but I knew you wouldn't be.
Not on over here. Maybe maybe people listening.
Maybe. But screw you, I don't care. It's my podcast and it's my life, and I'll do what I want.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious if there's anybody out there that also liked the party too. So like, let us know.
I totally want to hear about that. So definitely like comment on the Podbean page until we get iTunes up and going. It's submitted. Or even like on the Facebook post. And we're going to have a new page too. I should plug that like now. Yes. But anyway, I'm very excited to hear what you have to share.
All right. So, well, I'll start with, first off, I'm going to start with this one. So I was at Smashing Pumpkins Thursday night.
You did go to that show.
I was like almost not going to go.
Really?
I was pretty close to not going to that show.
They had tickets for super cheap last week too, for like $20.
Well, here's the thing. I got the tickets for free because I went to a concert.
Hence the shirt. Okay.
Yeah, that's the shirt. Yeah. So I went to a concert there at Tinley Park last year. I took my daughter to her first concert, which was Kesha and Macklemore.
Nice.
And I got an email from Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. It's the name of the place now. It will change next year.
Right. And
they're like, we haven't seen you for a while. Here's free tickets. Pick a show. And so it was basically a bunch of junk. And Smashing Pumpkins with Noel Gallagher and AFI. Miss Murder.
Interesting. Yeah.
So the other option that was worth anything was Nelly and TLC. Except Nelly and TLC is tonight, and I have to work tomorrow. Well, and I happen to be off Friday. Pumpkins were on Thursday night, so I'm like...
And it's really only TNC now because the L is gone.
What? TLC. I didn't know.
Oh my God, where were you 20 years ago? Sorry.
So anyway, I picked Smashing Pumpkins, and I was at work, and I was talking to a guy there, and I was like, I'm thinking about not going to the show. They were free, so it doesn't mean anything to me to miss it, And he's like, you're going to kick yourself if you don't go.
Yeah.
So I texted my wife, and I'm like, all right, we're going. And she's like, God damn it. Because she was like, had other plans now. She's like, I got other stuff to do. We got a car in the driveway we got to sell, and I got to clean it out and get it ready for all that. And I'm like, let's go. And it's not close. It's like
100 years away. That's what it feels like.
It's like a very long hour and a half from where we live.
Yeah.
I was luckily only half an hour away from where I was working. So.
Oh, geez.
So it was much easier of a drive for me. Anyway, so we went. So Smashing Pumpkins, I thought it was going to be bad.
I need to hear more about this because that's why I didn't wind up going. I was like, it's not James Eha. Or no, I think James Eha is there.
I didn't think he was going to be there either.
Darcy is what I was thinking.
Darcy is not there.
Yes.
No. She left 1998 or something like that.
She never came back.
Never came back. But Eha was there. Obviously Billy. And
Chamberlain.
Chamberlain was the drummer, yeah. So they have another guy who's playing lead guitar as well. He's just from some other smaller bands, just met the guys. And then they had a different guy playing bass, who I don't think is a regular player with them. I think he's just touring with them right now.
Okay.
He did not look like anybody else in the band. He looked like a frat guy playing bass, honestly. It was odd to see Billy in what he's wearing like this vampire thing now.
What?
Yeah. So it's like this just... I don't know how else to explain it, but it's
like a Neo coat from like the Matrix.
Yes, exactly, like a Neo coat from Matrix. That's what he's wearing, and he's got a beer gut and everything now.
No,
yeah, it's crazy to see.
Fat Billy Corgan.
James Eha looks the same.
Oh, James Eha
looks great. Still playing great. Billy's still playing great. His voice still sounds the same.
Does it really?
I thought with the way that guy sings that it would be trashed by now. There was really a Bullet with Butterfly Wings. He did that. It didn't sound great.
Okay.
But every other song sounded perfect. It sounded just like you were back in the 90s listening to them.
Was it like a hits show? Were they just doing the hits, or did they dig back some too?
So they started with Today.
Okay. Good. I'm glad they didn't close with that.
Yeah. And they had a bunch of hits. There was a handful of songs, maybe 5. They played 17 songs. Which, by the way, also, too, if you haven't ever seen it, setlist.fm, if you want to find out what they're going to play, look it up, go to, the show before.
Okay.
And then that's when you know you can leave.
I will totally have to... We're going to see Social D in a few weeks. Okay. I'll totally have to check that out, setlist.fm. Okay, yeah. Noted. Okay.
So, yeah, that's the other thing my buddy told me about. I was like, here, see what they're playing.
Yeah.
And it was the exact same playlist. And so, they got to, they played 1979, then Tonight, and then some song I didn't know. We're like, all right, let's go. And so we beat all the traffic out.
Thank God, because you would have been stuck there for a long time.
Like an extra hour at least. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
there's only one exit to that place. So.
There's actually two, and the only reason I know that is because I used to date a guy who lived down there. So like they would, toward the end of the show, they would start letting people out the different way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as bad as Rosemont. I always call it the Rosemont Horizon, but Allstate Arena, it's never as bad as that. So
that's pretty terrible.
But still, good. You left though, and you beat traffic.
Yeah, so we beat traffic, but the show was great. They did a cover of James Taylor, Fire and Rain.
Shut up!
Oh, it was good.
Did Billy sang the whole thing, or did James sing with him?
No, he sang it. Billy sang it.
Really?
Yeah, I recorded that. I don't generally record stuff when I'm at these shows, but I'm like, I knew that they were going to do that. I'm like, I want to record that because that's going to be really cool. So
you'll have to share like later on.
Oh, I'll share it. It'll probably get taken off Facebook if I put it up, though.
I don't think so, though. I've recorded.
We'll try. Worst thing is they take it down.
I mean, but if they take it down, but like I've done like Facebook Lives from concerts before, tons. Like at Kelly Clarkson back in February, they didn't take any of it down.
All right, so we're gonna get a new Facebook page. So once we do that,
thank you. Yes, you can share it there.
I'll put some pictures up that I took. Now we were in the lawn. Which is fine. I didn't know I hadn't really been there in a long time other than the one last year, but we were in the seats. I didn't know the lawn seats had the monitors out there now.
Wait, they moved them even like closer back? Like
you could see them from there. Like they're just right on the structure. There's like 4 monitors going across the lawn.
Really?
Where you can watch, yeah.
But and not just the ones by the stage. You're talking about like on the outside.
Oh yeah, no, they're on the outside by the lawn.
That totally changed because we were there last year for the band that I'm going to talk about next, and they were definitely not there then.
So yeah, they're there, and I was like, I'm like, oh, well, this is all right then.
That's great.
Because the last time I had a lawn seat there was probably in the 90s when I went and saw Dave Matthews.
Oh,
and I was like, oh man, this is terrible.
At least
on top of Dave Matthews never ending a song, by the way.
And he sounds like the fucking frog from the WB.
Yeah.
Like, hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. That's what he sounds like to me. Wow. Okay, so you had a good time. It sounds like you had a good time.
I had a surprisingly good time. I'm glad to go. I'm glad I went. I would have been kicking myself had I not gone. So.
How were the openers?
So we didn't watch AFI.
Okay. I mean, to me, I'm like, meh.
I only know the one song by them, and I heard it on my walk-in.
So
I knew I was going to miss that just because how far away we were. Noel Gallagher and his High Flying Birds. Okay.
God damn you, Noel Gallagher.
Noel Gallagher.
One half of Oasis for those who didn't pick up on that yet.
Yeah, so if you know Oasis, I saw a dude that had the shirt on, and it said, "Who the fuck is Liam Gallagher?" I'm like, that's a great shirt.
That's amazing.
So he played a bunch of songs I didn't know.
Of course.
Wonderwall and a Beatles song. I don't even remember which one now.
Okay. So he did a small tiny bit of what he was known for.
He knew what he was doing though, because there's one time he's like, "Here's another song you're not gonna know," and started playing, and everyone's like, "All right, cool." There was definitely fans. There were people there for him though. I mean,
okay.
So good for them.
That's cool.
I didn't know that he was still making music until I saw this concert.
Yeah, so. I mean, I pay enough attention to music to know that, but I don't listen to his shit, so I couldn't tell
It wasn't bad. It was very down the road. Middle of the road. Yeah. So it was fine.
Okay.
Passable, I guess.
Nice. What did your wife think of the show?
Here's the funny thing. So she was a big Smashing Pumpkins fan.
Okay.
Back then too. She actually showed me a picture of her wearing the shirt that I'm currently wearing, which is, for you guys that can't see us, it's the Zero Smashing Pumpkin shirt.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my God, I got the same shirt as you now.
You guys need to go out together and just wear them together.
Yeah, hers is gone.
Oh, that's too bad.
It would be like 25 years old at this point. But no, she really enjoyed it too, and she's seen them before. She saw them back when they were, putting out those butterfly wings and everything. So.
See, I never saw the Pumpkins. I saw Zwan. Do you remember that fucking project?
I couldn't remember the name, and I looked it up. I'm like, I don't know. Zwan. All right, good job, man.
I still own the album. To me, it sounds like Poppy Sunshine songs.
Yeah.
Like, that's what always just sticks out in my brain, because on the front of the cover, there was like a little like rainbow on there, too. So,
okay.
I don't know. It was pretty good. But.
Well, so, yeah, I was looking at it, and when I was trying to find the name of that band, and it's like, oh, Billy's heart wasn't into it. It was really into Smashing Pumpkins. I'm like, no shit, that's where the money was. Yeah, I'm going to go play with Smashing Pumpkins again. That sounds like a good idea.
Right.
James, what are you doing? Oh, Darcy's on drugs? Whatever.
Well, James had... we're totally going on a tangent here for a second, though, too. The reason why is because because I remember I was doing radio in college. And at the time, I was the DJ at the radio station at Harper College. And then my sophomore year, I became the manager, but I was also a DJ. And we used to have to go to Tower Records when that still existed.
Oh my God, Tower Records.
Yeah. We'd get like a credit card, from the radio station, like from the advisor. And we'd have to buy music for the catalog. And I remember when James Iha had his album come out, I believe it was 98 when his solo album was released.
His solo album, yeah.
Yeah. And that solo album was amazing.
I've heard it's good. I've never went back to listen to it, but I've heard it's pretty amazing.
I mean, it's not something that I feel like you would necessarily have to go back and listen to, but I think if you want to listen to some good music and and you want to hear somebody else from the Smashing Pumpkins and what they did, to me it was way better than...
the rest of them didn't do anything.
I mean, except for Billy and Zwan. Jimmy Chamberlain, he actually...
he had a couple of projects out, but nothing that took.
He actually recorded with a jazz saxophonist who I'm friends with, who I've known for like ever.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Frank Catalano. So they did a project together. I think they've done a couple of projects together.
The name sounds familiar.
Well, it's because
of Jordan Catalano. That's right.
Potentially could be. He's a local guy. He lived and grew up in Streamwood, where I currently live. But I met him because he was playing in a band at my uncle's wedding when I was like 19. And
Weird.
Then we became friends and stayed in touch ever since. And now he's out in New York living up like the high life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I love it.
All right, next, you're up. What do you got?
Okay, so
they don't all have to be embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing to me because
I haven't gotten to my embarrassing. I got one embarrassing one.
To me, I don't think this is embarrassing. So I had seen them before in 2003 or 2004. Poison. I love Poison. Oh yeah, Mike and I went. He had never seen them live before, and so we went last summer, and they are incredible. They still sounded as good as they sounded 15, 16 years ago. And even 15, 16 years before that. Bret Michaels is a freaking rock star. I mean, that man, obviously, he's been in the entertainment industry now for, almost 40 years at this point?
Like the TV shows, what was it?
Rock of Love, that shitty fucking show. So awful.
Like, here, I'm basically a scumbag, so
exactly.
I'm going to do a show about it.
And I never take off my bandana because I might be balding, so you'll always just have to
embrace it. Just embrace it, man. Shave your head like me.
Thank you. Shave your head like so many of my other guy friends, too.
Yeah,
let it go, man. You can put on the do-rag on top of your bald head if you want to. It's fine. I'm not going to judge.
Everybody knows, Brett.
Exactly. We're not blind, my friend. We're not blind. But they were fantastic, though. So Cheap Trick opened, and there was one other opener that I didn't give a shit about. But Cheap Trick was still really good, and I like all that kind of music. But Poison, man, CeCe DeVille looks really good now.
Everybody's still there?
Everybody was still there. Bobby Dahl, of course, Bret Michaels, CeCe DeVille, and what's the other dude's name? Ricky something. Everybody, Aaron, when you hear this, what's the other guy's name in Poison?
Yeah, let us know on Facebook so that I don't have to go back and do research on this.
So we don't need to do that. But they were fantastic. And let me tell you, it was definitely a Poison show. So we were also at Tinley Park, and we had lawn seats.
How do you feel about Tinley Park for people that are local?
So I will tell you, over the years, it has evolved into a better venue. And here's why. Because I feel like it's an amphitheater, of course. Yeah. But I feel like they're trying to compete with Ravinia a little bit for the people in the South Burbs, because now they allow you to bring in snacks, and I don't think you can bring in alcoholic beverages, which I get.
Yeah.
But you might be able to. I'm not 100% certain.
I don't believe you can, though, because they sell it in there at $20.
So does Ravinia, but they still allow people on the lawn to bring it in. So that's why. But they probably don't down there. So
I'm just curious, real quick, just because I've had conversations with people about Tinley Park. I'm like, oh, God, I don't know. I had a better experience this past time with the pumpkins. I'm like, okay, there's monitors. I can see what's going on.
That, to me,
that's not as bad. It was pretty chill out on the lawn, so. And
I think that makes a difference, though. So, at Ravinia, the thing that I'm comparing the two, because Ravinia is, for those who are not local, it's an outdoor venue. It's Ravinia Festival or whatever the hell they call it, whatever the grounds are called. You can picnic there. It's great. But you can't see screens. So, they have speakers all throughout the park, which is great. But if you want to see the band or the performer, whoever it is, you have to walk up near the round and look on the screens there. But now, Now, see, I've already been a fan of Tinley Park for a while, of the amphitheater, and I feel like the sound has gotten better over the years. Like,
it's definitely better,
much better. Like,
I think when they were the Tweeter Center,
it was shitty.
Yeah, it was bad, and then they got upgraded after that. So
that's exactly. Well, because my first show there ever was in 2000, and it was to see Blink 182 and Bad Religion, and then I saw the Cure there. That same summer. So I saw Blink and then I saw the Cure there. And it wasn't terrible, but then like over the years as I had continued to go back, I've been going there now for almost 20 years. Yeah. It's gotten markedly better. And I prefer the lawn to the seats. You have more room. Yeah. I mean, of course, if it's shitty weather, it can make for a not great experience, but I've had really good times. I've seen a ton of shows there. So I like it.
All right, cool.
I'm partial to it.
Tangent over. Let's go back to what you were saying.
But, so it was definitely a Poison show, though. So when we walked in, you could see all of I'm 40 now, so I'm kind of being a dick when I say this.
I'm not 40 yet.
almost. But I feel kind of like a dick saying it. Like, you see all the old people, and I'm using air quotes when I say that because we're not old, but you see all the people who are older than me by 10, 15 years wearing there was some, oh God, I'll tell the story in a second. But these people with their, their flannels, I don't really care, or their Poison t-shirts and their bandanas and thinking that they're badass. And here I am just walking in with a dress and combat boots. I don't really care. I'm not trying to dress the part of a Poison fan. I'm going there because I enjoy the music. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people, it was very fun to people watch. But before we were going to go find a spot on the lawn, we're standing by a table by the bathrooms, down when you first walk in. Mm-hmm. And we hear arguing behind us. And this dude, this little, he looks like he could have been part of the Lollipop Guild. That's the dude, this old dude who was drunk, and he's yelling at this woman. And this asshole had on a Rush t-shirt, tucked into his jorts, and sunglasses on, but he was wasted, and he was yelling at this woman. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I just see him push her, and she falls back 5 or 6 feet. I mean, he pushed her hard. Mm-hmm. And Mike, my boyfriend, I just see him then too, and I'm like, this is gonna be fucking interesting. He didn't get in the guy's face, but Mike was military, so he walked over, he took off his flannel that he had on, walked over and kind of just puffed up his chest in front of the Lollipop Guild man and told me to go and get security and the police. Yeah. And I did. But when I first brought security back, it was the first little wiry dork nerd that I could find who worked there at the amphitheater. But I was like, I need you to help me. I need to find the police. And so he pointed me in the direction. These 2 women cops came back with me. This asshole broke her wrist by pushing her. And so you see the women cops coming and then the male cops coming. And the guy, the only reason I know this is because we met up with other friends of mine there, who were also present for the fight. We didn't see them. But the dude wound up getting arrested and taken to county. But like I said, it was totally a Poison show. It wouldn't be a Poison show. That sounds about right. Yeah, there's a fight at every show, There's a fight at every show, I'm sure. Yeah. So that was an interesting way to start the evening. But just Poison themselves, I love all of their songs. I love, maybe not all of them. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. But I like a very big chunk of their music. And going to that show was a no-brainer for me. It was so good. Just Bret Michaels, his energy, he still sounds amazing. They all still sound amazing. And I think what kind of sold it for Mike even a little bit more, legit brought a tear to his eye. Bret Michaels is such a supporter of the troops. Okay. And so he got a bunch of vets, he gave them free tickets to the show and gave them backstage passes. So on Had to Have Been Something to Believe In, that song, he brought a bunch of them out on stage with him. That's pretty cool. It was really awesome. Yeah. And so he's got this dickhead personality on TV, but that was 10 years ago, and I'm sure he's kind of a little bit of a douche, but you also know that he really cares about stuff, and he's got these, beliefs is not the word, but these causes that he cares about a lot. His values. Yeah. Thank you. And it made the show even better. Plus it was just such a cool throwback. They had behind them, they had a video screen, of course, and they were showing all of the old videos and stuff. And that's pretty neat. Yeah. So Poison.
Nice.
Really good. Because, I mean, they were relevant 80s, 90s. So, Unskinny Bop, Yeah. So I'm really curious to hear your next one.
All right. I'll talk about, me and Dana are probably both very all over the map as far as music.
Yes.
So we like a lot of different stuff.
Yes.
So I listened to a lot of rap in the 90s.
I love it.
A lot of different stuff. I'll talk about this real quick because I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to tell people. But the first rap song I ever heard was "Bust a Move" by Young MC.
Oh, nice.
And that went in from "Bust a Move" into probably like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Getting into that stuff. But I don't want to talk about like Tupac. Everybody talks about Tupac and Biggie. They're like, oh, they're the best rappers ever.
That's
no.
False.
I want to talk about Coolio.
No shit.
Coolio. Gangsta's Paradise, Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah.
There was, so I believe.
Cool Runnings.
I believe Fantastic Voyage was came out during the summer, and I was at my grandparents' house.
Uh-huh.
And the video came on MTV, and I was like, what is this? just the beat, his flow and everything.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it.
That's awesome.
The guy is crazy now.
Doesn't he have a cookbook too?
Here's the weird thing about that is yes, he does.
Because he was on Food Network doing shit a few years ago too, if I'm not mistaken.
Cooking with Coolio,
yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
I don't have that one yet.
Yet.
When I get it, I'm going to put it next to my Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Yet, people. Yet. Pay attention to that part.
If he comes to do a signing.
I mean, you have to.
What's funny? So, all right. Speaking of 90s, I did go to a 90s concert 2 years ago.
Okay.
Coolio, Vanilla Ice.
I remember that when that came around. Okay.
Yeah. Salt and Pepper. And Color Me Bad.
Wasn't the dude really fat in Color Me Bad by that point?
You know what? When Color Me Bad came out, we went to go get more drinks. We're like, you want to see them? No. All right, let's go.
You didn't want to hear I Want to Sex You Up?
No,
Her
man.
All for Love?
I was not a Color Me Bad fan.
I was listening to them earlier today, son.
I don't doubt it. Son, come on. So Coolio, good performer. He is also losing his hair, but all right. So everybody's got to know what this guy's hair looks like, right?
Back here now. I think.
It's he's faded back. There's only two of the dreads sticking out of his head now. That's it. But what's cool is he went out into the audience at the end of his performances. It was rapping with people and hugging people. So that was really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Where did you see that at?
That was Allstate. That was Allstate Arena.
Okay, sorry.
The rest of the show was terrible.
Really?
It was so bad.
Even
sound,
Salt and Pepper?
Yes. Unfortunately, because I really wanted to see them.
Oh.
The sound was messed up. Their sound guy sucked.
That sucks.
Ass. So the whole show was bad. There was, I think, another Color Me Bad type group that I didn't know that was singing when we got there, and I don't even know what they were saying.
Really?
Funky Cold Medina. Tone Loc.
Tone Loc.
Tone Loc was there too. His voice is gone.
I kind of I've seen him do acting or talking on some stuff, and I'm like, bro sounds just really shot.
Yeah, because that voice that he rapped with was not his regular speaking voice.
That's what I thought.
So he just ruined his vocal cords. But the
Gotta
sound,
train.
Yeah, the sound came around for Coolio and Vanilla Ice, who really didn't do Vanilla Ice like you wanted to see him. He did his metal thing.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, which is fine for Ice Ice Baby, but not for the rest of it, But
Stop That Train, I don't think can hold up as a metal song.
Right. So, Coolio. I mean, all the stuff. He had his last album was My Soul. Well, not his last album.
Okay.
But his last popular album. That was 97, and they dropped him from his label. Even though it did fairly well, it did okay. Not as good as the other two, but the label dropped him. He was with Tommy Boy Records.
Well, see,
and they're like, you're not good anymore.
That's the problem, though, because back in the day, it clearly is not that way any longer. Maybe to a degree, but not like it was then. If you weren't hitting a certain amount of units, they're going to drop your ass because they compare it. Obviously, like you said, they compare it to the previous releases.
Yeah. But he made a career doing other stuff.
Cooking.
Cool
Runnings.
he was doing other shows and
he
did Celebrity Big Brother or something like that. And,
oh, that's right. I forgot about that too. He was not on Celebrity Rehab.
No.
No.
No, he hasn't dropped that far yet.
Okay, well, thank God. Thank God. Coolio, though, huh?
Yeah, Coolio. Come on.
I'm not even digging on it. I think that's Coolio.
All right.
You like him.
Funny, Dana. When she's done talking, she'll tell us our next one.
Oh, God. Okay. So, like I said, these are not a stretch for me. I am still an avid listener of Debbie Gibson. Very much so.
Okay.
Very, very much so. Like, I love...
Does she get into the 90s? Sure.
Mm-hmm. Not... I mean,
not
she had... not.
90s.
She still was releasing music, but it wasn't... I mean, it never gained as big a popularity as, like, of course, like the late 80s, early 90s stuff. Because I believe Electric Youth was released in 90. I'm pretty sure.
You would know that if you did your research.
I know that just off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure.
You talk, I'm going to find out.
I was just going to say, please tell me, because I feel like Out of the Blue was 87 or 88. But yeah, I am an avid fan of hers still to this day. I follow her on Instagram, and I was so geeked out like 6 months ago.
I can't remember this.
Yes, she followed me back. And she is the sweetest damn thing in the world. Like, you watch her Instagram live videos when she goes live. You do. I totally do.
You watch them.
Well,
just stay
when do you watch them? I totally do. And I still am such a fan of her. And I get it. She might not have had the best voice. I mean, Tiffany by far had a better voice than her. But just her energy, I just love her. She's adorable. And she just completed a tour with New Kids on the Block because they did that. Like,
oh, yeah.
It was New Kids on the Block, Naughty by Nature, Salt and Peppa, Tiffany.
Everything's got to be rebooted.
Well, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But they all did a song together for the tour, too. It was called 80s Baby.
Okay.
Which is awesome. So, but yeah, Debbie Gibson. I love her. I dressed up for her as Halloween when I was like 11 or 12. My mom made me like a really cute little vest, and I already had the Debbie Gibson hat. Which is hysterical because have you ever watched the show The Goldbergs?
Yeah.
So they had one on the other night. And like I mentioned, my work schedule, because I work from home, like I am usually up a little bit later at night. And they had an episode, it's based in the 80s, mm-hmm. I think maybe even early 90s, but they had an episode where the daughter, don't recall her name, but they were talking about her phases of music that she liked growing up. And Debbie Gibson, of course, was one of them. They didn't even have to say who it was. All of a sudden, I see her and all of her friends wearing the hats, and I'm like, that's a Debbie Gibson hat. And 2 seconds later, they're like, this is our Debbie Gibson hat. I'm like, yes, I know it is. So yes.
So Debbie Gibson, Out of the Blue, 1987.
It was 87, okay.
Electric Youth, 89.
Was it 89? Okay.
Anything is Possible was the first one in the 90s.
And that was what, 91?
90.
God, really? Yeah. I didn't really... Okay, see, I thought that there was a bigger break in between the two. Anything is Possible, like the title track off that album was the only one I think that even charted. Mm-hmm. Everything else I thought was garbage. I mean, no offense, Debbie. But her energy, though, I think that's what I appreciate the most about her. And I'm not embarrassed to say that I listen to her still.
Well, fine. I'll come back to the other one I was going to talk about.
Okay.
I'll talk about one of the embarrassing ones, Sugar Ray.
I saw them in concert for the Q101 tour.
Well, at least I did not do that.
Yeah, well, I didn't purposely. They were like on the bill. It was the, what were the Christmas shows that they used to do for Q101 back in the day? Whatever.
Oh, I don't remember.
But yeah, I saw them once.
Yeah, Sugar Ray, I don't know. You know, back in the day, like, Fly was the coolest thing.
Sure.
I had that album. That album is a very odd album.
Really?
So there is Fly, and then a bunch of new metal garbage.
Really?
They were a metal band. They were like considered new metal is what they call it, but it's like basically it's all hard, you know, and screaming and stuff. That was Mark McGrath before. I don't know how Fly got on that album, but I bought the album. I'm like, what is the rest of this music?
The label probably made them throw it in to have something that would perform on there.
Yeah. Well, they.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they had what was the guy's name?
Mark McGrath?
Not McGrath, the guy who did the song with them. Cat something.
Oh, shit.
I had it up earlier, I don't remember.
I can pull it up.
Thundercat? No.
Oh.
But they had him on that song with them. The rest of it was all metal. And then Mark McGrath went, hey guys, you want to know how we can make some music? Let's make some more garbage. Which I liked at the time. Like Every Day.
Yes.
Someday.
That's the song.
Every morning, and
yes.
Sunday, yeah. But it was catchy music, and Now Mark McGrath is just
Super Cat.
Super Cat. That was close.
You were very close.
Thundercat's better.
Oh. Now Mark McGrath has a plastic face.
Very plastic face. He was like a host on the Eat Network.
He's on Sirius XM now. He hosts a show there now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's terrible.
Yeah. So he just left all the other band members behind. They're probably all like, let's go back to playing this stuff. He's like, no, I want money. And then they just put out all these songs. And like, I picked this one because it just doesn't hold up anymore. You hear that song on the radio, you're like, nah, click.
You know who else doesn't hold up like that from that same era? Smash Mouth. I think that they're still not great. Yeah, Smash Mouth, they did a couple good songs. I still like their cover of the Monkey song, I'm a Believer. So I did see them 2 years ago at the Music in the Park thing in Elgin. Okay. Because so it was like the Motels, Belinda Carlisle, and like Smash Mouth. And that was the only song I liked that they did. I'm a Believer. The rest of them, they just don't hold up. They're like, this sounds way too between 80s and 90s. Terrible, shitty new music, or new metal, whatever they call that crap. It's just poppy, top 40 garbage. Yeah. But Sugar Ray, okay. Yeah, Sugar Ray. I can't fault you for that, though. I mean, I'm not the only one, That's just People still like Nickelback, so... I mean, they do, and I want to hang my head in shame for all of you, or anybody else who likes Creed. Looking at me. No, oh, you're a fan? No. Okay, thank God. Not that I'll look at the microphone. I haven't liked one of their songs before. I mean, we all liked one of their songs before, but Chad Kroeger is an ass turd. Ass turd. That's where they come from. I mean, it's kind of where they come from. Turds come from the ass. That's Chad Kroeger. He's a Canadian ass turd. I'll give you Sugar Ray. That's interesting. Yeah. So for me, this next one, like their career has spanned decades. Uh-huh. But I got into them in the 90s because of a boy who I dated in junior high. Can I guess? Yes. The Cure? Of course. Yes. Okay. And clearly I'm not embarrassed. I have Robert Smith tattooed on my back. But that's when I became a fan in like the very early 90s of their music. And it's because I bought my junior high boyfriend at the time the Wish tape for his like birthday or something. Okay. And then I started listening to it and I fell in love with it. And I have issues with The Cure post that album. Okay. Because I feel like Wild Mood Swings was kind of garbage, and that was the first tour that I ever saw them on in 96. But I love The Cure so much that I can forgive them for that because of their albums prior to that. Here's the interesting thing about The Cure. Uh-huh. When we decided to do this podcast, I'm like, I wonder how long it's going to take for her to talk about The Cure. I already knew that you love The Cure. Love The Cure. Second episode. I'm surprised it wasn't the first. How can I work The Cure into a reboot show? Well, they're doing this fantastic tour right now that I wish I could like go and see, and I wish that was here. It's like they're 40. Was it last year? Last year they recorded some concert out in London because it was the 40th year since their first release. So kind of awesome, 40-year anniversary for the album, and like I've seen them several times clearly in concert, and they are just phenomenal. Like seeing Robert, even though he's like fat old Robert Smith now, he's not as fat as he was a few years ago. He's still got the crazy hair. I love that he still wears the terrible eye makeup and lipstick at 60 years old. He still does. I give that man credit. I was so damn happy when they got inducted into the Rock Hall this year. Yeah. I cried when I watched Trent Reznor's. Just this year they got into it? Okay. It was just this year, yeah. Okay. And they, because when Trent Reznor did their induction speech, I was like, oh my God. You knew because the music spoke to him. Yeah. He grew up with that music too. And it was like redemption that they finally got in there. So here's my thing with The Cure. I don't hate them. Not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But, man, someone give Robert Smith a hug. That guy's been sad for 40 years. Well, you wouldn't. So the funniest thing was after they got inducted and they performed, some reporter went up to Robert Smith and she was all like young and bubbly. And she's like, oh my gosh, aren't you so excited that you got inducted and blah, blah, blah. And he's just kind of standing there and he's like, not as excited as you are. Like just deadpan saying this to this woman with this awkward smile on his face. And she didn't know what to say. It's like, you don't come up to Robert Smith hot, like out of the gate like that. That's not how you approach that man. You need to be gentle. And you bring garlic and a cross.
Oh wait, that's Billy Corgan.
That's Billy Corgan. Yes.
Billy Corgan. But getting my rock gods mixed up.
But yes, I love that they poked fun at him on South Park. I love that they did that stuff. Like it's just, and he's a good sport about it. He's gotten much less abrasive over the years. I feel, and that maybe abrasive is not the right word, but he's not as bitchy. Maybe is the way to look at it too. But yeah, I love The Cure. I'm never gonna stop.
Friday, I'm in love.
Yeah. Oh, that's like their worst song in the world.
Oh, that's the only one I like.
Yeah, see? When I hear it when I go to the grocery stores now, I'm like, fuck you.
They play it at the grocery store.
They play it everywhere. And I'm like, I
hate the elevator.
All of you. There were other songs on that album that were 1,000 times better than Friday, I'm in Love. Although the video is pretty cute.
Okay.
So The Cure.
So I have like 2 more.
All right.
So do we want to, I don't know how we're doing for time here, if I need to go through 2 more or how many
we're good for time. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, screw it. We'll go to Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
Love the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
They're still making music.
It's terrible now, I think.
I don't know about that.
Sorry, I just... Okay.
So the 90s Red Hot Chili Peppers is clearly the best. Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Probably one of the best albums forever. And
timeless.
I mean, if we're talking about albums that like stand the test of time, that's one of them. I don't know if the rest of theirs do.
I feel like Freaky Styley does, like the older school, like funk stuff.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Then that was the 80s.
Right.
That was their first album, second album.
Mother's Milk, and then Freaky Styley, and
Mother's Milk was right before Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
So that was the one right before. Okay, yeah. I can't remember how many they had prior to that. I think it was like
4 before. Was it 4 before 4? Blood Sugar Sex Magic?
Okay.
Yeah. But like those 3 albums, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and then there was One Hot Minute in Californication.
Yes.
That was like prime them, and that I dare you to like look at a band that had that record for those couple of years there. They were really good. And the reason why I was curious about, like you said, The Cure was just inducted to the Hall of Fame. Chili Peppers have been in there since 2012 already.
Really?
Yeah. I was surprised to see that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they've been in for a while.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, how many times have you seen them in concert?
I haven't seen them in concert yet.
I've seen them in concert, and you never saw them in concert. I have Chad Smith's stick. I caught it when he threw it when I was in
Ferrell. His name was Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. I caught it when he threw it into the crowd when I was in I took my ex-boyfriend years and years ago. I still have it. I found it again last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a whole lot of concerts.
Oh my God! What?
I'm
met kidding.
This woman.
I know, and you have
married
a family.
her, and we've been to a few, and we had kids. I have a 13-year-old.
I tease.
That's what I've been doing for 13 years.
I kid.
I really want to see them in concert. Hopefully, they don't die.
Next time they come around, seriously, just go. Honestly, like they were. I saw them in 2003 or 2004.
Yeah.
It had to have been 2004. They were freaking phenomenal. They were so good live. So good live.
Have you seen them on that James Corden carpool
karaoke? I feel like I saw a clip. I didn't watch the whole
Should watch it.
video. Okay.
We'll put it on the Facebook page too. We'll try to do that.
Yes.
It's a great one though. If like a lot of those are really cheesy and dumb, but like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, because of who they are, especially Flea.
Oh, Flea for sure.
I mean, think about Flea in the back of this car just going crazy while they're doing their songs, you know?
Speaking of Flea, and for anybody who has the Epix channel on cable, there is a show that you need to watch. And I'm gonna pull up the title. I think it is just called Punk, and Epix, EPIX. Yeah, it's just called Punk.
Okay.
I had a free preview last week, and so they had 4 episodes that I could watch, and we watched all of them. And Flea was on, I think, like the last 2.
Okay.
I love hearing him talk about the scene because, like, he didn't start out in like the type of music that he started. He was a huge jazz nerd.
Yeah. And
he loved jazz music.
He's a student of music. He really is.
You hit it right on the head, and he talks about that a lot. So it's really interesting to hear his take on that in like that era. So
yeah, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, their whole story, if you go back and just start reading about them, it's insane.
I've never really done any research on them.
Just besides they had the one guitarist pass away, and they've been through 20 guitarists.
Not for Shante.
What the hell is
Hillel, that's it, yes.
Yeah. And they've had so many, Dave Navarro was one of their guitarists for a little while, but they've had so many people just cycle through that. But on top of that, though, the drugs and the parties and just the trouble they've gotten into, and just, I mean, if you want to talk about like rock stories, backstage stories, these are the guys.
I'll have to. I mean, you're making me interested. Not that I dislike them.
Yeah,
but
there's so much about them. You can just look it up, Wikipedia, whatever.
Okay.
And you'll be like engrossed with stories about them for hours.
I'm glad that you said that though, because now that makes me like, it piques my interest to want to look into that more. Because like, don't get me wrong, I like that era that you described, those 3 albums. Maybe not Californication as much, because I feel like the sound really changed on that album.
It did.
But One Hot Minute, that was a great album. Of course, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Wasn't that 90 when that came out? Or 91?
That was 91.
91.
And then there were 4 years after that, then the One Hot Minute.
That's One Hot Minute. That's right, because it was, I remember when One Hot Minute came out, because it was around the time that I really was getting into Stone Temple Pilots as well.
Oh, Stone Temple Pilots.
I know. R.I.P.
Yeah.
I love that though.
Yeah.
You have to see them live though. I'm telling you,
I will
buy tickets for you guys to fucking go
That's
see them.
my thing now. I gotta see some of these people before they pass away.
You do. I mean, like, I'm going to see Elton John again in October with Mike. I saw him on the farewell tour last year.
I took my mom to Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, how was that?
Oh, they're amazing. We were in the back, so it was kind of like crap, but
it's still, still there.
It's Fleetwood Mac. Their show is so like, they've got it down. They've got it down to a science. But you could see the egos, because everyone had to have their own little minute there. Even they had...
The Scarf Monster, did she have her own minute too?
I'm sure.
Stevie Nicks, I'm sure.
Of course she did.
That's what Mike calls her. So I'm like...
Scarf Monster?
Yeah.
That sounds very negative. I like Stevie Nicks.
I do like her too, but when he said it, I'm like, it's kind of a brilliant name though. It's kind of brilliant.
She's just different from the rest of the band.
Completely.
I mean, Lindsey Buckingham wasn't there.
Oh, that's right. He didn't do that tour.
He didn't want to.
He's
so they had. I should know that.
He's writing more music for National Lampoons. Sorry,
it's a great song.
It is a great song.
Classic vacation song. But no, they had the guy from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Mike Chamberlain. No, Campbell. Mike Campbell.
That's it.
Yeah, they had him, and they did so he did a song, just him, and then they did a tribute to Petty at the end of the concert, I am probably, of all the bands in the world, Tom Petty and Heartbreakers for me is number 1.
Oh, awesome!
So I was like crying seeing that. I'm like, oh man, Tom. But I got to see Tom Petty before he passed.
Did you?
No, right after we graduated in '97, I saw him at United Center.
I never saw. Man, my friend Ruben, who I told you about, I used to podcast with him. He met Tom Petty in Chicago.
Oh my God!
So, like, I have to tell you this story because you're such a fan. So right. I might not hit all the points 100% correct, but the gist of it is they're the Chicago Music Exchange that used to be like on Clark Street on the north side. He was driving past with one of his ex-girlfriends, and he's like, wait a second. He goes, I think that was Tom Petty who just walked in there. And she's like, do you want me to pull the car over? And he's like, yeah. And so he gets out, and he walks in, and it's Tom Petty. They were leaving. They were, like, killing some time before they were leaving town, I believe, because then they were headed to O'Hare after that. And he just, I mean, he didn't do total fanboy, but he kind of did, and he got to meet Tom Petty in person and shake his hand.
I don't know if I could have said anything to him.
Right?
I'd be like, hey, you're Tom Petty. I would have flipped out. That concert that I went to, that was so long ago. I just have great memories of that whole night because I almost didn't go to that concert.
Why?
I didn't know about it. Like, I didn't know that he was in town.
Oh, God.
And so, like, and this is like, so we're just out of high school. I don't have a credit card to buy tickets or anything like that. So I called my mom at work. I'm like, hey, Tom Petty's playing in town tonight. I want to go. And I'm like, can I borrow your credit card number? And she's like, all right. You know, I mean, she can appreciate Tom Petty.
Sure.
So me and my buddy, we got the tickets. They were 11th row. The night of the concert, by the way. Got in there.
Before you really had the scalper problem. But
yeah. And it was an amazing show. Danced all night long. We were drunk as, fuck by the time we left there. There's more stories that I don't need to tell on the podcast.
Not yet anyway. Don't worry. We'll pull them out.
Yeah, we'll see. It was a great night. And I wanted to see him. He was here the year before he passed away doing like Summerfest and Lollapalooza with Chris Stapleton, who was the only country artist I could listen to.
Love him.
As far as country, that's it for me. Chris Stapleton, forget the rest. I don't even
Not
care.
even Sturgill Simpson?
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, you would like him.
No, I know
like
who he
Chris
is.
Stapleton. Okay.
I know who he is. Stapleton's
like,
a big fan of his.
Okay, and he should be, because Sturgill worked with Foo Fighters. He worked with What's His Nuts. Yeah.
So anyways, tangent again.
That's awesome, though. I love that. I love that you're a fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we were talking about Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, sorry.
We do tangents here.
We do.
Where are we? Are we on you now? Or this is your turn? You got anything else?
I mean, I have several, but I really just want to hear your last one, though.
All right.
Because mine would be like the obvious choices, like New Kids on the Block, or, New Kids on the Block that I listen to all the time, but they've made such a comeback in the last 10 and 11 years. Mine don't, yeah.
I feel like every woman likes New Kids on the Block.
I was such a fan. Like, they were on the Mickey Mouse Club. They were on their one, for one of the episodes. Like, huge fan of theirs. And still am. And I may or may not have found out where Donnie Wahlberg lives in St. Charles, and we may or may not have driven past his house like a few months ago.
Nice. All right.
It's public record, so I don't feel so bad about it. Record. It's totally public record,
that doesn't make it not stalking, then.
Well, but I had heard, they had talked about before, that they have people who actually...
I heard...
No, but they have people who actually stop by the house, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I want to see I want to drive by and see, the neighborhood and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just checking out the neighborhood. We
might buy a house here for $7 million.
Oh, I didn't know. That's pretty cool, kids.
I have seen them in concert twice.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic live. And this last one, that they were just in town with Debbie Gibson and Tiffany and all them for, I had tickets, but I had to work late that night. So unfortunately, I couldn't do it after, I just had such a long week at work, and I didn't wind up going. It was a bummer.
So I'll tell you this, next time you go see Donnie at his house, let him know that Wahlburgers sucks.
What? No, you shut your mouth, sir.
No, Wahlburgers is terrible.
What is wrong with you? I had them in Detroit.
Human and I have taste buds.
You did what? Come on. What did you get?
A burger.
I know,
I got the Wahlburger.
Okay. Did you get anything else, though? Because I thought their food was really good.
I'm sure I got fries. I don't know. I was so disappointed in the burger. I was just like, I don't even know what else is on my table.
What didn't you like about it?
The taste.
But I mean, be more specific, because now I'm going to,
The taste is not more specific. The burger was bad, Dana. It was dry.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Which one did you go to?
Somewhere in California, somewhere in LA, I think.
It's because they make them dry out there, I'm sure. The one,
it's LA's fault.
It's LA's fault.
Donnie Wahlberg makes bad burgers.
The one that I went to, though, in Detroit, my girlfriend, we had gone out there to go see some fucking band. I can't remember. That she really wanted to go. So I said, let's do a chick trip. We'll go to Detroit. You can see them. It was their farewell tour. And she really wanted to go to Wahlburgers, and so did I. Because you see the TV show. They're pretty hilarious.
It was in Minneapolis.
Oh, well, it's fucking Minneapolis. That's why it's terrible. But I really enjoyed it. It was a very juicy burger that, we had a good experience. Their mac and cheese was really good. Their sweet potato fries were excellent. It was a very good experience that we had. Might have been an off day. You could go. You could even go. I'm totally rooting for you, Donnie. You could go. You know what we found at Meijer the other day?
No,
they sell Wahlburgers hamburger patties at the store.
Oh, maybe that's what they served me at their restaurant.
They might have served.
You know what? We ran out of real food, so here, have this crap.
They went to McDonald's and got it then. Whatever they served you. I'll defend them until the cows come home.
Until they're not coming home. They're being eaten. Anywho.
All right, your last.
In-N-Out Burger's better. All right.
I've never had that. I've never been to California, though.
You don't have to be in California. Vegas?
I've never... See, it didn't
have
even
you
think
not been
about
to
that.
Vegas?
No, I've been to Vegas.
Okay.
It's been a few years, though.
What's wrong
I
with
didn't realize that they had them out there, too. Anyway.
They do. That's where I had it the first time.
Okay.
Right.
Noted.
Tangent over. All right, Belle Biv DeVoe.
I love that!
Speaking of bad burgers and poison...
I love Belle Biv DeVoe.
Belle Biv DeVoe's the best.
That's amazing.
The only thing is they didn't have so they were New Edition first, basically.
Of course. Basically,
they came from New Edition.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, there's only 3 of us now, so we're going to be DeVoe, Biv, Belle? No, that doesn't sound right.
BBD, baby. BBD.
Yes, thought it was me. So, good stories about Belle Biv DeVoe. So, anyways, only one real good album.
I mean, yeah.
The second one was Hootie Mac, and like
I never listened to it.
Yeah, nobody did except for me. I think they had one album sale. I'm like, no, I love this, and there's actually 2 good songs on there.
Okay.
One was actually on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Really?
Yeah. I don't remember the name right now, but there's an episode. Do you remember the episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Belle DeVoe came to the house and did a music video in the house?
No, but I remember Will Smith, Fresh Prince, being on Blossom, and she met him in the elevator. I do not remember Belle Biv DeVoe, though, on the Fresh Prince.
They were on Fresh Prince, and they filmed a music video while the parents were out of town.
Really? And
it was this one song. And years later, I was watching it, and I'm like, God, you know what? I never went to go see what this song is. And it's from that album. Okay. Because that was when they were trying to promote the second album that went on the show and everything. Okay. No one even knows it. Anyway, that's part of it.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool song. The rest of the album's garbage. But Poison had a lot of good songs on it. I used to listen to that whole album.
Well, what was it? Do Me, Poison. Those were the 2 that I knew off that album.
I Thought It Was Me. There's one called Ricky, Ralph, Mike, something, Johnny. All the guys from New Edition.
Yes. New Edition. Oh.
Yeah, New Edition's great too.
Yeah, I
know. So interesting story. 5th grade. The song I Thought It Was Me.
Okay.
So, this class I was in, so I was in this like...
You weren't out here yet.
I was in Crystal Lake. I pretty much lived out here forever. But my parents separated and I moved a lot.
Okay.
But within the area.
Okay, got it.
So, I ended up going to the school that's actually not far from where we are now. Not the one that you saw, but a different one that's a couple blocks away.
Okay.
So we were like in this... trailer because the school was overpopulated. So
like
they had those classroom trailers outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was out in one of those. And so we switched from like our science class to history class into the next trailer over.
Okay.
But the rest of our classes were in our like homeroom, you know, English, math, and all that.
Sure.
So for this one special class for science, my classroom had to do a presentation to the other classroom about science. And they did theirs about history to us. So we did a music video. I Thought It Was Me, a Belle DeVoe. So one of the guys had like the instrumental.
Oh my God.
Of the tape, the cassette.
Do you have this on?
I don't.
Oh, damn it. Okay, sorry.
I think I know who does. I think I still know like.
I mean, I think you need to contact them.
Maybe we'll see. So we did a music video. We wrote a rap about science, which I wrote a whole verse on.
Get out.
But here's the kicker. So the day of the filming for the video, I was sick.
What?
And I forgot we were doing the video that day.
Oh.
So my debut rap performance of this rap I wrote with like 2 other people, I did not get to do.
That's what killed your rap career.
That was it right there.
Honestly, Matt, I say this with all of the love in my heart, I never would have pegged you for such a big fan of rap. Like
did you
R&B.
not know me in high school?
I did, but still, like, I guess I didn't ever really ask or pick your brain apart as far as, like, your musical taste. Like, I know how we all dressed in the 90s. You know what I mean? But, like, I never would have thought that, though.
Oh, if you want to go deep into the history of rap.
Dude, I love that you, like, maybe we should, I would love to hear you talk about that. I would
probably have to bone up on some things.
That's okay, though.
But, you know, interestingly enough, a lot of my history of rap I learned from a book I read a long time ago, and that got me more interested in it.
Really?
It was called Hip Hop America. It's by a guy with the name of Nelson George.
Okay.
And he's a big rap historian. He pops up. You ever see anything about rap? All of a sudden, he pops up on these documentaries all the time. I'm like, holy crap, I know that guy.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of where it came from. And then I just learned more about it. So
that's awesome. I like that.
We could do that someday, maybe.
I would totally be down for that. And I like that it's not only just that you like the music, but that you also dig into the history. Because, like, that's, for me, I have a lot of pop culture knowledge, but I also like digging into the history and, like, understanding how other things intertwine.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I don't know. That's how
like
my brain
rap history
works.
is deeper than Run DMC people.
Oh, hell yeah, 100%. Like,
they just got lucky because
Aerosmith, Walk This Way.
Well, no, it's not even that. It was actually Russell Simmons and a white guy.
Oh, yes. Yes. God, what's that show? They had something on Showtime. Was it Showtime or HBO?
Oh,
the Defiant Ones.
Yeah, the Defiant Ones.
The Jimmy Iovine. Yeah, they talk about a lot of that stuff, and a lot of those guys who came out of like Queens and Brooklyn in like the 70s and 80s, and they talk a lot about Run DMC, and I never, but again, I always did enjoy like rap and hip hop and stuff, but I never would have known a lot of those stories had I not started digging and understanding. Like I knew how it was connected to like funk and soul and like all that stuff, but hearing the individual stories of those groups or like, you know, whatever individual artists who came up and how they came to be, it's fascinating to me. And I've always been a huge music geek. Like I was in band when we were in junior high, and then I did chorus all throughout high school. And I love, like, I'm also like a big concert geek, you know, like huge. And my first concert ever was Green Day in '94. And, like, I've always been a fan of music. I remember being a little kid. I can share my last one with you before we sign off, because I think you'll appreciate it. But
all right.
This has to tie in with my story about being a little kid. So, I am a huge fan still of Wham. I love George Michael. But I have been a fan of Wham since I was a little girl. Like, I remember being 5 and dancing around in my parents' old living room at the house in Barrington and, like, dressing up in my mom's stuff. And my mom... So there's a VHS tape called Wham! The Video, and it has all of their... Not all of them, but it has all the videos from that album. And... my mom used to rent it from the video store so often that finally one day they were like, Mrs. Kroll, you've had this out for so many weeks. Why don't you just buy it? And so my mom bought it, and I still own it to this day. And the day that George Michael died on Christmas Day a few years ago, my ex-husband dug it out of the basement for me and put it into the VCR, and it fucking broke. And I was devastated.
Oh, divorce.
Like, well, I mean, it was totally the reason why we got divorced. But obviously, we know Scotch tape works on videotapes when they break, right? Like it always has. So he saved it, but I bought another copy off of Amazon, like the used section, of course, because nobody has a brand new copy. Duh. Yeah. It's from like 85 or 86. So maybe I was 7 at the time. Either way, I was a little kid. But yeah, so I still own that. And then I went even further and bought the other Wham video that they had, like VHS tape that they had of Wham. I was listening to Wham earlier today as well. I love Wham. Love, love, love. And not just because of Orange Julius is in fucking Zoolander. But yeah. Yeah.
I have nothing to say to that. I don't even know whether to make fun of that, commend you for the bravery.
The look on your face, you don't have to say anything at all. And they did, and George Michael, so I mean, it's kind of like a through string, right? Because Wham! Ended in the 80s, but George Michael had a career in the 90s, so it's like I still...
He did, yeah. Faster Love was the one song?
Love was a song.
Fast Love.
He also, interestingly enough as well, on the Wham! Album called, I think it was... was it? I don't know. Either way, there was a song called Freedom as Wham! And then in 1990, he also did Freedom 90.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that album, it was Faith, Father Figure, Monkey. I think One More Try was on that album.
Oh, Faith, Limp Bizkit did that song.
Yeah, that terrible fucking band.
That was almost one of the picks, but I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to stand behind my Limp Bizkit.
I'll give that to you. You give me Wham!, I'll give you that one.
Fine. Done and done.
Done. But yeah, that yeah.
All right. So are we gonna end on Wham?
I mean, I think we should. End on Wham. Do you have another one?
I don't have any more.
You said Limp Bizkit though, so I mean that's kind of like...
that's fine.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're gonna get a new Facebook page up.
We have to.
You keep listening to us, subscribe to us. Tell us what your embarrassing band is, right?
I totally want to hear that. I'll get the email.
Yeah. We appreciate the comments already that we've gotten. We want to hear more from you guys. Yes. So keep listening. I'm Matt.
I'm Dana.
This is Journey to the Middle. We'll see you next time.
Bye.